Hello and welcome to another episode of Laptop Retrospective, and today I have something a bit different for you. Because I know things about technology, I get asked a lot of questions about a lot of different topics, and one came up recently that I wasn't actually super sure how to answer. I'm actually getting quite a few requests from different companies that are looking at different ways to take their content online and doing it in the best way possible for those businesses. And one of the things that keeps coming up is, well, my computer's over here, the action's happening over here, I need a camera that can reach, or one that I can put far away and I don't have to run cables and stuff. I did some research and I said, wow, the best solution is probably a pan tilt zoom camera, or a PTZ as they're known in the industry, or PTZ for my local fellow Canadians. One thing that kept coming up was that these things aren't cheap. And I kind of had to deliver the news, and it's like, well, there are these cameras available, but I have to admit, I don't really know a whole lot about them. And with COVID, the technology is definitely evolving. And then I had an email come from Reolink, which is the company that provided these cameras. They pretty much showed me their entire catalog and said, hey, would you like to feature some of our cameras on your YouTube channel? And I looked through them. A lot of them were like security cameras, and I was thinking, that might not be a good fit. I'm not really that kind of a channel. And then I saw their E1 series, and it looks like their E1 series can be used not only for security, but potentially for streaming and other things like that. And I said to myself, okay, tell you what, one of your E1s looks pretty neat. Would you mind sending me one? And their response was, well, how about we send you the whole line? And I'm like, okay. Full disclaimer, these cameras were not personally purchased by me. They were provided by Reolink. And I want to make it very, very clear, I am not being paid for my opinion on these. It is a completely objective review. The only thing that I didn't pay for, obviously, is the cameras themselves, but my opinions cannot be bought. This is the video of what I truly believe that these things are capable of. Now, one thing that I did do a little bit of digging into is, with any company that sells technology like this, you want to make sure that it's going to be well supported. So one of the things that I liked immediately is that there is no subscription service. This works with your local network, your Google Assistants. It's as simple as that. One of the other things I checked was their website. They have a lot of support articles and they're very well written, which just further increased my comfort with featuring them on the channel. And they seem to be pretty active on social media and updating those support articles, which gives me a bit more confidence putting them in front of us today to take a look at. With all of that out of the way, the E1 series is a Wi-Fi security indoor line, and it has pan and tilt functions, these two do. And then of course the E1 zoom, which is actually the nicest camera out of all of them, has a 3x optical zoom. Very quickly, let's go over the specifications of each one of these cameras, the key differences, and then we're going to unbox them all and we're going to try them all. So we're going to start off with the E1. It is the most budget conscious of the entire line. It is a 3 megapixel camera with a pan and tilt of 355 degrees and then 50 degrees up and down. And that's the same for all three. It has two-way audio, so that means it has a microphone and a speaker built into it. And it is configurable for low light use. This camera, when it's not on sale, retails at $49.99 Canadian dollars. The next step up is the E1 Pro, which is a 4 megapixel sensor. It has the same pan and tilt function, the same two-way audio function, and features 2.4 or 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. The E only features 2.4. It also has the same low light use, and is priced a little higher at $68.99 Canadian. The star of the show, however, is probably the E1 Zoom. It has a 5 megapixel sensor, it has the pan and tilt functions of these two cameras, and then, as I mentioned earlier, a 3x optical zoom. It also features two-way audio, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, and is priced at $89.99 Canadian. So it is easily the most expensive camera out of the bunch. But if you are looking for a budget option for a PTZ camera, you're going to find that that's a pretty competitive price. All of these cameras have some standard features that are worth pointing out, and that includes motion alerts. If they detect motion, they'll start recording. They do have audio alarms. Hey, you there. Step away from the ThinkPads. Leave them alone. They have remote view options through phone apps, desktop apps, so they got you covered there. It works with Google Assistant, which is great. I don't know about you, but if I'm diving into smart home, I don't want to have to add one more thing on top of everything else that I've already got going on in my house. Speaking about your home, you can actually select areas in the app that the camera will black out or not record for your privacy. More importantly, these two cameras in the black boxes are able to handle RTSP or RTMP capability. In other words, these are the two cameras that you should be able to, say, import to OBS Studio or other streaming applications, or just stream these directly to other services. So if you are a business looking to stream content live, or maybe you're just a content creator that wants a camera that you can adjust remotely for whatever reason, these two stand to be the most interesting, which isn't to say that the E1 isn't, but for our purposes today, these are the ones that I am the most curious about. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and unbox each one of these cameras. There is one thing that I do want to point out, and I think it is a good step, but it does need a little bit of work. And that is, on all of the boxes, they have a do not accept if seal is broken sticker. Now, if you are like me and are very conscious about your privacy, the idea of sticking a camera in your home or your workplace could be a discussion that you want to have with both eyes open. There have been several issues with other companies having security breaches with their online services and people accessing cameras remotely. And I will tell you right now, if you have weak network security, then that is something that you need to take into consideration if you're going to use one of these, because once a person is on your network, the likelihood of them being able to find the camera is pretty high. To avoid any tampering from it being delivered from the factory to your home, they've included this sticker probably for the peace of mind. There is one problem though. The bottom of the box, as far as I can tell, could be easily opened and the contents removed through the bottom. Now, it might end up damaging the bottom so it doesn't look like, from the factory, but in my mind, if you are going to put the sticker up here to bring peace of mind, I think there might be a few people out there, such as myself, that look at the bottom of that and say, you might want to do something about that too, just to make it pretty clear that there's only one way into the box and that sticker will actually do what it says it will do. All right, so we have unboxed them and rearranged them. So we have the E1 here, we have the Pro here, and then we have the Zoom on the far right. So in terms of quality, if you will, they go from left to right. Now, inside each box, we have a cardboard box, which will probably include the power adapter. And then we also have a small little folio here. And if we open that up, it seems to include a sticker, a mounting diagram, and then a quick start guide underneath. I am always very curious to see the quality of a quick start guide. It tells us the contents, it gives us how to set the camera up, it shows us the mounting guide if you were to mount this on a ceiling or somewhere, it gives tips for camera placement, and a troubleshooting guide, as well as some other information. Inside the white box here, we have the mounting part right here, and then we have some standard drywall anchors and screws if we were going to mount that. And then we have a power adapter here. What I am going to do is set this camera up and just give it a quick function test, and then we'll quickly look at the other two. Okay, so I have gone and downloaded the Reolink app, mainly for the computer, just because I thought it'd be easier to work on. Let's go ahead and see what we can figure out. So it says add new device, click the plus on the far right-hand side. So let's do that. I am gonna try it on my phone since the desktop app seems to be a little bit finicky. So we're gonna scan the QR code on the bottom, and we're gonna tell it to use a Wi-Fi connection. And I have to enter in the Wi-Fi information by hand. And now it needs to scan this. Okay.
Camera is connecting to your router. Please wait. Connection to the router succeeded. Welcome to Reolink.
All right, so there it is. The latency on the E1 is not what I would call fantastic we're looking at the date time that it gives at the top, it's about a 3-second delay. So again, we are looking at about a delay of, I would say, 3 seconds, maybe a little less, depending on the network traffic. So that is something that you do want to take in consideration, and then just making sure that you're minding your expectations in terms of how quickly this could work. Now, that being said, this is on a 2.4 gigahertz band. The others are capable of 5, and it will be interesting to see how well they perform. One thing that is a relief to point out is that this laptop is connected to the 5G band of the same network and can still see this camera. So I should be able to import all of the cameras, even though they're on different bands, and still access and toggle between them all. All right, so I have all of the cameras connected right now, and I can easily toggle between them. And if we take a look at the pan, tilt, and zoom functionality of the nicer camera, I'm going to go ahead and turn it around and point it at the ThinkPad there. See if we can adjust it a bit. Get it in center frame. Well, I have to say that looks pretty sharp given the distance and the quality of that camera. So that is definitely impressive. And again, just stick my hand in front, move it back up. The delay is noticeable, but I think you could certainly learn to work with it. Now, if you had audio synchronous problems, probably if you had audio coming from another source, so you would have to do a little bit of trickery, say in OBS or whatever else you might use to sort this out. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and see how that functionality might work. So before we continue talking about the streaming capability of the camera, it's really worth pointing out that this is an excellent security camera setup. You can move the camera remotely, you can record to SD card, you can set it up only to record when it detects motion. They're really quiet, they're actually a very nice camera. The following tests are to see if we can push it beyond what it was designed to do primarily. So to do this, we'll need a few pieces of information on the cameras that support it. If we go to stream, we can actually see that we can set all sorts of different functionality here. So we've definitely got a high resolution signal. For our maximum frame rate, apparently on the zoom, the best we're going to get is 20, at least at that resolution. So what we have to do is build a link to use with the information that we've gathered. We are going to go RTSP : // and then we need the admin username and then password for that camera. Then we need specify the IP address of the camera, 2 // and then H264 preview _01 _main. Once we have that information in OBS, we will go ahead to add source and go add media source. And we'll call this E1 Zoom. And it's not a local file, so we're going to untick that. And pretty much all of the other boxes. And where it goes input, we're going to go ahead and dump the link. Okay, and there we go. We have our Zoom camera outputting to OBS. There is a bit of a delay, as we can expect. Just given the nature of the camera. But I gotta say, that looks really, really sharp. And if we wanted to experiment a bit more with adding other cameras, and say we wanted to have a multi-camera feed, so we can put that one up there in that corner. We can go ahead and go add media source. And let's add the E1 Pro. So it is worth pointing out for those of you worried about the aesthetic on how this might look, you can actually go in and disable the Reolink overlay, the date timestamp, as well as the camera name completely. So if you don't want to see any of that information, you can go ahead and hide it here and get a pretty seamless experience with these two set up in OBS, I'm actually getting their audio as well, which I can choose to use or not use in the audio mix, which is fantastic. And as you can see, if I put my hand in the way, the two are essentially in sync with how quickly they're both reacting, which is good. So the delay is equal. So if you are using different cameras, you're still going to be able to get some pretty decent quality here. They're not going to be super fast frame rate, but at the budget that you're looking at, that's not a bad thing. And if you are curious, the zoom resolution is outputting 2560 by 1440, and then the Pro is also able to stream at that. You can also drop that resolution down to 1080p and get up to 25 frames per second. So if you are looking for a bit of a smoother experience, you might be able to luck out there. So this is some capture footage from the camera. I'm about 2 feet away from it, speaking regularly. And you can see that the ThinkPad here is in nice and clear focus. And this is the audio coming from the camera itself. Of course, depending on your stream setup, you'll probably choose to use a different microphone that you have a lot more control over, and then you can synchronize the audio offset in OBS. Okay, so what we've done now is we've added a 700 millisecond delay to the microphone that I'm using to record, so it should more or less synchronize with the camera. There are different things that we can do to narrow that gap down even further, but doing a quick clap test and snap test at different ranges has yielded these results, which should show you that if you do want to use another microphone and this camera at the same time, that it is possible. Just like any sort of camera that you get out there, the lower the resolution, generally the higher the frame rate these things can run. But just understand that that is the realistic compromise that you are making, and in this reviewer's opinion, at the price point, you're not getting a professional pan-tilt zoom camera, but you could definitely press these into service as doing that job. I hope to actually get the opportunity to test these out further. If you do like the idea of any of these cameras, especially the Pro and the Zoom, I think have really distinguished themselves here today, then I will leave links in the description down below where you can pick these up. If you enjoy this sort of content and would like to see more, then I would encourage you to do the big four. Please like the video, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so the next time I give you an update on these cameras or really anything else relating to technology, you shall be the first to know about it. So thank you so much, and I shall see you next time.